Hi, my name is Jason Aulds. I am the front of house engineer and an associate director in technical arts at Gateway Church in Southlake, Texas. We're a Bible-based, Spirit-believing church led by Pastor Robert Morris. My primary role here is to mix front of house and to also oversee the Southlake campus from a technical arts standpoint. Our main auditorium here in Southlake seats 4,000 people. We mix all the services on Digico SD7s. We have 3 consoles, one for front of house, which mixes everything the congregation hears, one for monitors, which mixes the band, who are strictly on in-ears, and then one for broadcast that mixes for our webcast, for capture purposes, and also for anything that we do on TV, which includes the Blessed Life TV show and anything that we do on Daystar or TBN Network. All the Digicos are upgraded with a SoundGrid Wave server, and they're all running the SoundGrid Pro bundle. I've been mixing here at Gateway for 8 years. When I came here, we had many different consoles in different areas of the church. One of our main goals as we moved forward was to get into a standardized system so that our volunteers, our part-timers, and our full-time staff would be flexible enough to move wherever we needed them. We wanted the same console at every position. We wanted the same Waves package at every position for the flexibility, for the training of volunteers. We decided to go with the Digico SD7 for the opticore network, for the amount of inputs that we could do at front of house, the amount of outputs we could do at monitors, and for the audio quality that it gave us. When they partnered with Waves to bring Waves on board, it was a no-brainer. With the Waves platform running at each console, we were able to get a consistent mix from position to position at a very high quality for our audience, both within the building, the congregation, and on the web, and from the TV show aspect. One of the great things with the partnership between Waves and Digico is the touchscreen integration that it offers. Because they've gone the extra mile and actually added the card into the SD7, it now enables you to use the touch screen, center screen on the SD7 to control the Waves plugins. That means with a touch of a button, I can get a knob, I can get a fader, I can select anything that I want. It makes it very quick, not only for sound check, but during show. As many of you know, we deal with lots of issues mixing in a house of worship environment. The majority of our issues come in the form of volume complaints. Is it too loud? Is it too soft? Is the low end in the front too much? Is there no low end in the back? Is the pastor too soft? Can I hear the background vocals? I hear too much of the background vocals. All of these issues play into how we mix when we want to engage our congregation. We'll open the service with an upbeat praise song, but by the third song, we could be into a ballad that's anywhere from 80 to 90 decibels. We'll end the service with another praise song that could be up around 103, 104 C weighted. So I spend a lot of my time making sure those dynamics translate, that there's a lot of headroom on the system to be able to push when I need to, and that I have plenty of control to pull back the volume in the places where I need the low dynamics. In the church, we do not have time for rehearsals during the week. Part of how we help the worship team get ready is to be as quick and fast with not only monitors and ears, but a front of house mix too. This is a process that we've developed over a few years. Our sound checks typically start with kick and bass, playing a groove. We'll add overall drums, move to guitars and keyboards. My main goal is to lock in the low end and get a good basic mix for the band by the time they finish their sound check for their ears. Next, we'll add vocals. Each vocal will spend a couple seconds checking their own ears, checking for the band. During this time, I'm EQing, I'm compressing, I'm setting the proper gain structure for each vocal. All this happens in about a 15-minute time span. We get a lot of questions about how we mix vocals, especially the background vocals. At Gateway Church, we have anywhere between 7 and 12 background singers on any given weekend. To help manage all those singers, the noise that the mics pick up, and the dynamic range that they sing in, I might use a max volume with the gate softly put on to help minimize background volume when they're not singing. I'll use a C6 to help smooth out the vocals as a group so that They're bright, they cut through, but they do not overtake the lead vocal. Each vocal is auxed into a waves doubler, which helps me get a little bit of a chorus sound on each vocal and makes them present without being the main thing. I try to leave the main part of the mix for the lead vocal. The lead vocal is our most important aspect of our mix. The lead vocal needs to be present, it needs to be heard by everyone in the auditorium, and it needs to sound good. The majority of my time is spent on making sure the band to vocal ratio is correct. Because we don't have rehearsals, I try my best not to ever start from scratch. The presets that come with the Waves plugins give me a good starting point. In the Waves rack itself, I'm able to save individual plugins or the whole rack. So coming into the weekend, part of my prep time will be to look at the vocal list and see who's singing that weekend. We have many different singers, many different teams, and those lead singers will rotate between each campus that we have. I have presets for many of the lead singers already built into the console, so I can instantiate those before the band ever gets here. That way I'm not wasting time trying to get a basic mix going. I'm already there. In order to run the levels that we need to run to stay within our dB limit, we enclose and isolate our drums. Our drums are totally isolated. They're encaged in a complete drum enclosure with plexiglass, acoustical paneling, anything that can help us get the acoustical volume of the drums down. The problem with that being is your drums can end up sounding very sterile. They can end up sounding distant. It just doesn't sound like a natural live kit. One of the ways I overcome this is with the Waves plugins. Kick drum, snare, toms, and overheads all get a treatment of Waves plugins. One of my favorite plugins to use on the drums to help give them some more life are the Trans-X plugins. The wide goes onto the kick, and I use a Trans-X multi on each tom to give them a little bit of extra life. And then they're all bussed into a group that has an API 2500 bus compressor on it to help the drums as a whole sound as one instrument, no matter how hard the drummer plays them, and to also dynamically keep them within the mix. I don't know if you notice or not, but toms are becoming an integral part of worship music over the last 10 to 15 years. It can help drive the music, it can change the mood. Waves plugins like Trans Multi-X, the one knob louder, help me achieve the tom sound I want to create so that it will help engage the audience. My signal chain on my toms obviously is gain structure to EQ on the board a little bit, and then into the Waves plugin rack. In the Waves plugin rack, I'll use a Q10 to help kind of dig out some more of those mids. Then I'll use the Trans-X to bring some of that life back. And then actually on the back end, I put a one knob louder plugin on it. Because they're isolated in a drum cage, because our drummers play so hard, I have to gate the toms sometimes to excess. The one knob louder helps me bring that volume back up as the gate opens. The way that we manage the low end on the kick drum is both with the console EQ and then with the 1176 to help limit the kick and how loud it can get. I use the Trans-X to deliver punch, but to also regulate how much of the low end comes through. Those things help us to translate what's going on the stage to the audience in a pleasurable manner. We get a lot of questions from visiting sound guys, audio directors, technical directors from other churches about digital, about Waves, about how we've moved to the place that we've gotten to. My advice to them always is to do your research. Figure out the best gear that you can get for the budget that you have that will meet your needs. And when it's all said and done, leave some money left over for Waves because they can make a huge difference in your mix.